All right, so here we're going to divide decimals here. All right, now the thing with that, you first want to identify your divisor and your dividend. Now, your dividend is always that first number right here, the first one. So that's your dividend. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to understand, the dividend. And then you have your divisor. This is your divisor. Divisor is the one that is right to the right of that division symbol. Okay. Your divisor. Now, your divisor can be larger or smaller than the dividend, okay? But that doesn't matter. The point is that the first one is your dividend and the second one is your divisor. So when you're setting it up, your divisor is the one outside. Okay, so your divisor is outside and the dividend goes inside here, the symbol. All right. So now here's how we're going to set it up. So we're going to do it like this. I'm going to put 55 outside. And then the 35.75 is going to go inside here. 35.75. Now, here's the thing with dividing decimals. With dividing decimals, you have to keep dividing until your remainder is a zero. Your remainder must be a zero, or your remainder continues to repeat. Okay. Now, we don't have to worry about anything here with the decimal right now because the divisor, which is 55, has no decimal. Okay, the decimal is it's at the end, but it's invisible. We don't when it's at the end of the number, we don't need to write it in. But because there's no decimal shown in the divisor, there's nothing we need to do here. So all we need to now worry about is just go ahead and divide here. Okay. Now, I want you to pay a particular attention, something I want you to be really aware. Here we're taking a small number. See this number, 35, which is actually smaller than the divisor here. Okay, when we have something like this, what this means is that we put the decimal on top and it's going to start off with zero. It's always going to have a zero first and then a decimal. Yep. Whenever the inside number is smaller than the outside number, your answer would, your quotient, which is your answer, will always start with the number zero and then a point. Okay. Now, we need to ask ourselves here, how many times 55, right? How many times 55 can go into 357? Okay, that's our question here. 55 cannot go into 35. So we need to ask how many times 55 can go into 357. Now, I already kind of did the math already here, but so it's 6 times. 6 times. Okay, so you kind of have to play with it and see which quotient is it. So 6 times, okay? And 6 times 55, 6 times 55, you work it out on the side, right? It'll be 330. Okay. And then we just need to subtract here. 7. 5 minus 3 is 2. Now here is 0, right? So we don't need to worry about. Now we need to bring down the 5. Okay, so remember we have to bring down. We always have to bring down here. 275. Okay, so now the next step is trying to figure out 275 divided into 55, right? Or how many 55s can go into 275? Well, the most 5 times. Okay, the most 5 times. Okay, 5 times 55 is actually 275. Okay, minus, and it's 0. So the remainder here is 0. So because the remainder is 0, guess what that means? We're finished dividing. Okay. So this is an example of how you do this one here. Now, I want to show something here quickly. Let me erase this quickly. I don't want to make the video too long because I want you to be able to see it. Here. What if there was a 5? What if it was 5.5? Right? What if it was like this? 5.5. Instead of 55, 5.5, right? And then you have 35.75. Okay, now in a case like this, okay, in a case like this, you always don't want to have decimals here outside. This divisor here, outside you don't want to have it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna move it one place to the right. So this one's you always have you in this example is only one place to right because it just takes one time to get it to the end. Okay, so the goal here is to get it to the end of that number. Okay, or if it was, let's say if it wasn't to the, let's say it was like this type of, like just pretending, right? What if, what if it's 5.55? Right? What if it was like that? Okay, then it wouldn't just be one time, but it would be two times. So we have to, so like I said, the goal is to get it to the end here. All right. Now we don't stop here. We do not stop here. Okay, so let me go back to the previous example, 5.5. Okay, so we're going to move the decimal to the end, and it takes one place value to move. Okay, it's one time we had to move it to get to the end of that number. Okay, and because there's only one time we had to move that point, then we have to do the same thing here. Then we just need to move it one time here. Okay, so the point is now here. So we're going to put a point up here. Okay. So we also have to place a decimal above this. Now, so if you move it one time in the divisor, you move it one time in the dividend. Now, we have to keep in mind is that this point here is no longer there, and this is no longer there. So now we're looking at just 55 here. Okay, so if I have to rewrite this new division problem, it's going to be like this. 55 divide. Now it's going to look like this 305, 7.5. See? Now it's going to be like this. Now here's the thing here. Remember I told you when the divisor is larger than the dividend, right? Then your answer begins with 0 and a point. In this example now, check this out now. The divisor is smaller than the dividend. Okay, so what does that mean? That means the number in front of the point is going to be a number other than 0. So it's not going to start with 0. It's going to start with a 1 or something, some number, but it's not 0. All right. Well, we already know that 55 goes into 357 6 times. So notice now it's 6. Okay, so 6 and 330. Okay, so now we know if we subtract it, we know, remember all this here, 275, and we know it's 5 times. Okay, so 275, and we subtract, and we got 0. So again, the same concept here with 0. All right, so this is kind of the basics of it. So I'm hoping this you will understand it here. So 6 points. So notice now it's a whole number, then a decimal. In here, it's a 0, then a decimal. All right, I hope that helps.